The Jackfruit Tree. This story happened when my eldest sister was young. It was the day of the Flores de Mayo and Santa Cruzan festivities, which coincided with children joining in to celebrate or offer devotion to the Virgin Mary. My sister was preparing, along with my mother, for the evening song dedicated to Mama Mary. Across from our house was a large jackfruit tree, and behind it was a huge mango tree. When we say huge, it really was huge. Back then, our place was quite isolated, with no electricity and no concrete roads. There were no vehicles around either. The area around our house was surrounded by trees, so the air was always fresh and pleasant to breathe. One night, the only light we had came from a lamp made by my father. While my mother and sister were happily singing in preparation for the Teresa song, my father was just listening. After a while, the jackfruit tree started making noises, as if a large bird had perched on it, but they couldn't see anything. They ignored it at first and continued singing, but the rustling of the jackfruit tree's leaves grew louder and louder, so my father told my mother and sister to practice their singing inside the house instead. My father then went outside, holding a machete, as if he was ready to fight something we couldn't see. "What do you want?" my father asked, addressing the air, or perhaps something we couldn't see. "My daughter is just preparing for tomorrow. Why do you need to scare them?" my father angrily said. "Forgive us if we disturbed you. We shall now leave," the voice responded. To this day, it remains a mystery to us. Was the bird angry because the song they were practicing was for the Blessed Virgin Mary? Or were they disturbed by the noise my mother and sister were making? Umpong, the keeper. Our village is surrounded by forest with large, ancient trees. In the province, by 5 p.m., both children and elders are already inside their homes. The houses are made purely of wood, with bamboo roofs, so even the slightest sound outside can be easily heard. Our village is blessed with abundant water sources, where we draw our daily drinking water. However, since this is a gift from nature, it also has its guardians and inhabitants, who are not human or visible to us. It is at night that the guardian of nature, Umpong, the keeper, roams. His path goes through my grandfather's cornfield and down to my uncle's house. You wouldn't think he was anything other than a horse, because that's the form he takes. One night my uncle witnessed it. Its howl and its passing by signaled its journey toward the bountiful water source. My brother was only 5 years old then, and what they saw was like a unicorn, the kind you hear about on the radio but now seen in front of them. The next morning they discussed it, and no horse had escaped from the nearby village. If there had been one, someone would have immediately searched for it, as it would have been needed for farm work. To this day, we are not afraid, because we know that in our actions there is always a guardian watching over us.